This how to draw is going to be done a bit different from my last one. Rather than doing a step-by-step process like I did with the Mammoth Plushie video, I'm instead going to be pointing out certain things you can do, while of course being accompanied by footage of me drawing. So let's just get right into this. While there are various shapes and sizes dragons come in, we're going to be focusing on 3 today. Call them Slender, Boxy, and Broad. Good examples of slender dragon faces are Saphira, Cinder, and Smaug. Slender is definitely the most common and recognizable shape of dragon face. Then there's Boxy, which can be seen predominantly in Spyro, as well as Ignitus and the Triple Strike dragon. This one's also pretty common. And finally, the one that is actually really new and gaining quick traction is the Broad head shape. This head shape is very distinguishable, as it really first came into the limelight when it was featured in How to Train Your Dragon, and is of course recognized as the shape of Toothless, as well as the Woolly Howl and newer Light Fury. All of these head shapes are pretty easy to draw if you know what you're doing, and if you know how to make it all look good. As I said earlier, I won't be doing a step-by-step process, but instead giving examples of me drawing these 3 different head shapes, and giving pointers on how to make a dragon design look good depending on the shape of the head. And we'll be starting out with the Slender Shape. This head shape is pretty much artist's first dragon design and is one of the easiest to draw, but it can be difficult to get everything just right. It's very important to not get jagged or blocky with the design. Instead, keep things smooth with a circular head shape, a long snout, large curving horns, and a long skinny neck. It's important to note that the snout looks best if it narrows at the end in an almost triangular shape. Also, the horns can be shaped differently, perhaps in a more jagged way if you like, but make sure to keep them narrow. Shorter horns can also look really good on this kind of head shape, provided they're a bit blunter and thicker. I personally just felt like going with longer, curvier horns. As for the eyes, large eyes work best for this head shape if you're going for a cartoony look like mine. Just be sure not to make them too big, too close together, or too close to the snout. Smaller eyes can work well too, but typically with a more realistic art style. Lastly, if you decide to color your dragon, it doesn't matter if it's with duller or flashier colors. So long as the colors work well and the pattern fits with the dragon you designed, then do whatever you like. I personally went with a duller look, with a black and white splotchy pattern, a lighter silver gray for the horns, and a complementary blue for the eyes. Keep all these pointers in mind and you'll have yourself a nice sleek dragon. Up next is the Boxy head shape. Right off the bat, this design is obviously much rougher and bulkier in appearance compared to the Slender Shape. A large, square-shaped head works best to fit with the square-shaped snout. Large or small horns can work really well on this kind of dragon, but I personally went with shorter, smaller horns so I could add a surplus of them to give an intimidating, ancient feel to the dragon. Whereas the Slender Shape is typically accompanied by a longer, curvier neck, the Boxy shape works best with a thicker, shorter neck, and unlike the Slender Shape, we really don't want to narrow the snout at the end. The thicker, boxier snout helps to complement the large head of the dragon. A jagged mouth shape also works really well with this kind of design. Smaller and medium-shaped eyes work really well with this look, cartoony or not, but larger eyes could give it an awkward look, so be careful with that. Since most dragons that have this head shape are typically seen as older or powerful dragons, I personally felt like giving this dragon icy colors, almost like a winter guardian of sorts. But of course, feel free to color your dragon as you see fit. And with that, you now have a gruff but great-looking dragon. The Broad shape is by far the easiest and most simplistic kind of head shape to draw in regards to a dragon. You don't want a whole lot of detail on this thing, unlike the last 2. Rather, you want to go for a sleeker, simple design. The simple, almost oval or rectangular shape of the head, paired with the large cartoony eyes close to the end of the snout, and large ears give the dragon a very appealing and cutesy look. Similar to the Boxy shape, short and thick necks work really well with this kind of design. Feel free to add a couple of tiny details, like I did, with the fuzz on the jawline, or you can add tiny ridges on the top of the head. Nothing too big though, aside from the ears, as we want to give the dragon a very sleek look. Horns could work so long as they are pulled back rather than curling forward or upward. The mouth can either be completely smooth or have very small and few jagged lines on it. Too many would probably look weird, especially if they came out too large. Finally, very simple colors and designs work best with this dragon. Nothing too crazy. I personally went with a tabby-like, simple striped pattern for my dragon. And with that, you made your very own Knife Fury knockoff. Like I said at the beginning of the video, there are plenty of other head shapes for dragons out there besides these 3, including some that are sort of mixes and combinations of them. So if you like this video, do let me know, and maybe I'll make another in the future talking about more head shapes and designs. Feel free to share your drawings with me on either Discord, Twitter, or Facebook. You can find links to those in the description. And with that, I shall see you around.